You want to know how clones tell each other apart? Who cares? They're here to fight, not to socialize.
Sergeant Cal Scarrotta.
Chapter 6. Get out! Burhan yelled. Get out and don't come back! You've brought all this on us. Go on, clear off! The farmer shied a clod of dirt at Etain, and she sidestepped it. It broke into dust behind her. The old woman, who wasn't Burhan's wife, she discovered, came up from behind and grabbed his arm.
Don't be a fool,
she said.
If we take care of the Jedi, then they'll take care of us when the Republic comes.
Burhan was still staring at Etain, as if he was debating whether to go and grab his pitchfork. Republic my rump, he said. Them's no different than the Namies when it comes to it. We'll still be at the bottom of the pile, whoever runs the show. Etain stood with her arms folded, wondering how the old woman, Jannart, had managed to attach herself to Burhan's sprawling family. She was an appalling cook, and couldn't have been much help with the heavy farm labor. Etain imagined she earned her keep spinning Merle wool like the rest of the elderly Killarans she'd met. But right now, Etain doubted even Jannart's powers of persuasion. She decided to try her own again.
Burhan, you want me to stay?
She said carefully, concentrating as Master Fullier had taught her.
You want to cooperate with me?
I rotten well don't want to cooperate with you, missy, he said. And say please. She'd never quite mastered Jedi persuasion when under stress. Unfortunately, that was always the time when she needed it. Jannart nudged Burhan roughly. No mean feat for such a short woman.
If them Jedi have landed, fool, she'll bring them around here to sort you out,
she said.
This is no time to make new enemies. And if they haven't, well, it'll blow over and then we'll have someone that can make things grow. That's right, isn't it, girl? Jedi can make crops grow.
Etain watched the display of rustic logic with growing respect.
We can harness the Force to nurture plants, yes.
That was all too true. She had heard the stories of Padawans joining the Agri-Corps when they didn't perform well during training. That was all she needed. Life on a backwater planet, talking to fields of grain. It wasn't just the intelligence data she had hidden in her cloak that made her want to get off planet as fast as she could. Agriculture spelled failure. She didn't need any further reminding of her inadequacy. Yeah, Burhan spat and trudged off, muttering profanities.
We all get nervous when Hawkins thugs start burning down farms,
Jannart said. She took Etain's arm and steered her back to the barn that had become her home. No, it wasn't home. There could never be home for her. No loves, no attachments, no commitments except the Force. Well, at least it wouldn't be hard to tear herself away from here.
And killing farmers, of course. So why aren't you nervous?
Etain asked.
Oh, you're a cautious child,
Jannart replied.
I have a dead master. It encourages you somewhat. I have a broader view of life,
Jannart said, not at all like a wool-spinning old woman.
Now, you keep yourself safe, and don't go wandering about.
Etain was developing a Neomoidian level of paranoia, and wondered if even her own instincts were deceiving her. She had at least always been able to sense another's emotions and condition.
So they know where to find me,
she said quietly, testing. Jannart stiffened visibly.
Depends on who they might be,
she said, wafting the pungent scent of Merle as she walked.
I don't care for Urquell much, and at my time of life there's little left to covet,
Jannart reflected.
You said they were coming,
Etain stated.
Ah, I did indeed,
Jannart mused.
I have no patience for riddles. Then you should have. And you should also be reassured, because they're here, and they'll help you. But you also need to help them.
Etaine's mind raced ahead. Her stomach knotted. No, she was falling for carnival fortune teller's tricks. She was adding her own knowledge and senses to vague generalities and seeing meaning where there was none. Of course Jannart knew strangers had arrived. The whole of Imbrani had known about Master Fullier, and it was very hard not to know something had happened when vessels crash-landed on your farm and when every hiding hole in the area was being searched by Hoken's militia. For some reason or another, Jannart was playing a guessing game.
When you specify something, I'll take you seriously,
Etain said.
You should be less suspicious,
Jannart said slowly.
And you should look at what you think you see much more carefully.
Etain opened the barn door, and the scent of straw and bark tumbled out, almost solid. She felt suddenly calmer, and even hopeful. She had no idea why. Perhaps Jannart was naturally reassuring, as comforting as a grandmother, despite all her odd talk. Etain couldn't actually remember a grandmother, or any of her biological family, of course. Family wasn't familiar or soothing, because she had grown up in a commune of Jedi novices, educated and raised and cared for by her own kind, and by that she never meant human. But family, even from what she had seen briefly of squabbling farmers' clans, suddenly seemed desirable. It was difficult to be alone right then.
I wish I had time to educate you in survival,
Jannart said.
That task will have to fall to someone else. Be ready to come with me when it gets dark.
Jannart was becoming much more articulate. She was more than she appeared to be. Etain decided to trust the old woman, because she was the nearest she had to an ally, and she still had her lightsaber after all.